The sun beat down on Professor Taiho Kim's back as he carefully brushed sand away from what looked like a stone slab. After 3 weeks of digging in the Gobi Desert, his team had found nothing important. Until now. "Hand me the small brush, please," Taiho said to his student. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at the strange marks on the stone. They were not like any writing he had seen before. The stone was smooth, too smooth to be natural. When Taiho touched it, it felt cold even under the hot desert sun. That was strange. "Professor, take a look at this," called Junho, one of his best students. Junho had found more stones with the same strange marks. Taiho stood up and looked around. The dig site. What they thought was a small burial place now seemed much bigger. His heart beat faster. This could be the find of his life. Everyone knew plan. He called to his team of 12 students and helpers. "We need to uncover this whole area. Be very careful. Whatever this is, it's not what we expected." As the sun began to set, they had uncovered a large, round stone door. The marks on it formed circles and lines that seemed to point to a center spot. "It doesn't make sense," said Taiho, staring at his notebook where he had copied the strange marks. "These don't match any ancient language we know. Not Chinese, not Mongolian, not anything." Taiho decided to touch the center of the door where all the lines met. To everyone's surprise, the stone moved slightly under his hand. Then a line of blue light appeared around the edge of the door. "Step back," Taiho shouted. Everyone moved, away quickly as the stone door slowly slid open. Cold air rushed out from the dark opening. Taiho shined his flashlight inside. What he saw made him gasp. It was not a burial chamber. It was a room with walls made of metal, not stone. And in the center sat a large object that looked like a mix between a throne and a machine. "This is impossible," whispered Taiho. "Get the dating equipment now." 3 days later, Taiho sat in his tent staring at the test results. He ran his hand through his hair, which he hadn't washed since they found the chamber. The dating test said the metal room was over 50,000 years old. That was before humans built cities, before they even farmed. It was impossible. But the evidence was right in front of him. And the strangest part was that when they brought in lights, they saw the metal had no rust, no damage. It looked new. Taiho's phone rang, breaking his thoughts. "Professor Kim speaking," he answered. "Professor, this is Jiwoo Park from the Korean Space Agency." The woman's voice sounded excited. "I need to talk to you about your discovery in the Gobi Desert." Taiho frowned. "How do you know about that? We haven't told anyone yet." "Because I've been tracking unusual radiation signals from space. One of them is coming from exactly where you are," she said. "And there are others like it all around the world." 2 weeks later, Taiho stood in a large meeting room in Seoul. Maps and pictures covered the walls. People in suits and uniforms talked in small groups. Jiwoo Park walked over to him. She was shorter than he expected, with short black hair and quick eyes that missed nothing. "Thank you for coming, Professor," she said. "Let me show you why I called you here." She led him to a large world map. Red dots marked places all over it. "Each red dot shows where we found the strange radiation signal," she explained. "At first, we thought they might be natural, but look at the pattern." Taiho studied the map. The dots were at places he knew well, near the pyramids in Egypt, Stonehenge in England, Easter Island, the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro, and many others. "These are all famous archaeological sites," he said slowly. "Yes, but that's not all," said Jiwoo. She pressed a button, and blue dots appeared on the map too. "The blue dots show places where the radiation is weaker, and look where they are." Taiho's eyes widened. The blue dots marked places that most people thought were just natural formations, certain mountains, valleys, even some islands. "You think all these places—" He couldn't finish his sentence. "I think they're all like your find in the Gobi," said Jiwoo. "Not natural, not human-made, something else." A tall man in a military uniform walked over to them. "Professor Kim, I'm Colonel Sunho Kang," he said. "The government has put me in charge of this investigation. We're forming a special team, and we want both of you on it." Taiho looked at the map again. What exactly do you think we're dealing with, Colonel? That's what we need to find out, said Sunho. But we need to keep this quiet for now. If what we suspect is true, it will change everything we know about human history. 1 month later, Taiho stood inside the metal chamber in the Gobi Desert again. This time the room was full of equipment and people in lab coats. "We're ready, Professor," said Minji Lee, a data specialist sent by the Korean government. She sat in front of a computer connected to the strange throne-like object in the center of the room. Taiho nodded. "Start the sequence." Minji typed commands into her computer. The throne began to hum and lights appeared on its surface. Suddenly, a bright light shot up from the throne to the ceiling. Everyone froze as the light formed into a three-dimensional map of stars. "It's a star map," whispered Jiwoo, who had joined them. She walked around the light display, her eyes wide. "But some of these star positions are wrong. Unless this map is showing the stars as they were 50,000 years ago," finished Taiho. The light changed, zooming in on one star system. Taiho recognized it as the solar system. Then it focused on Earth. The image of Earth began to change. It showed battles with strange ships and weapons. It showed creatures that were not human building huge structures, and it showed those structures being destroyed by other creatures in more battles. Again and again, the images showed different types of beings fighting on Earth, building, destroying, dying. Thousands of them, over and over. Taiho felt cold despite the desert heat outside. Earth wasn't just home to humans, he said quietly. It was a battlefield for something else. Many something else's. "Not just a battlefield," said Jiwoo, her voice shaking as they watched the endless cycle of alien wars play out above them. "A graveyard. Earth is the graveyard of 1,000 alien empires." The star map suddenly collapsed, and the throne went dark. Everyone in the room stood in silence, trying to understand what they had just seen. Colonel Sunho, who had watched without speaking, finally broke the silence. "We need to see the other sites, all of them. Now we know what to look for." As they packed up their equipment, Taiho looked at the throne one last time. The history he had studied all his life was just a small chapter in a much longer, stranger story. And somewhere out there, he was sure, the writers of that story might still be watching. 3 months passed since the discovery in the Gobi Desert. All around the world, teams searched the places marked on Jiwoo's map. They found more metal rooms with strange machines. Some were deep in jungles. Others were under the sea. A few were even frozen in ice. Each one showed the same star map and the same story of wars on Earth. Colonel Sunho Kang now led a large team working from a secret base in South Korea. The government gave them many resources because they knew this was important, very important. "What have we learned so far?" Sunho asked during the morning meeting. The room was full of scientists, soldiers, and government workers. Taiho stood up with his report. "We have found 37 sites so far. Each one has technology that is between 40,000 and 3 million years old." He pointed to pictures on the wall. "The designs are different at each site. That matches what the star maps showed us. Different aliens came to Earth at different times." Jiwoo spoke next. "The radiation signals are strongest when we turn on the machines. We think they are trying to connect to something, maybe to each other, or maybe to something else we haven't found yet." Minji Lee, who worked with computers, raised her hand. "I've been studying the symbols from all the sites. There are patterns. I think they are different languages, but some words look the same across all of them, like Earth and war and neutral ground." Sunho nodded. "Good work. But we need more answers. What were they fighting for? Why here on Earth? And the big question, are any of them still out there?" Just then, a man rushed into the room with a tablet computer. "Sir, the team in the Pacific Ocean found something much bigger than the other sites." Everyone gathered around to look at the video feed. A team of divers had found a massive metal door in the ocean floor near an island. The door was as big as a football field. "We need to go there," said Sunho. "Now." 1 week later, Taeho, Jiwoo, Minji, and Sunho stood on a large ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Below them, teams of divers and small submarines worked to open the huge door they had found. "It's opening!" shouted someone from the radio room. On the screens, they watched as the massive door slowly slid open. Water rushed into the space below, but strangely it stopped at a certain point. Some kind of force held the water back. "There's a pocket of air down there," said Jiwoo in wonder. "After all this time, how is that possible?" "We're sending in the first team," said Sunho. He looked at the others. "Get ready. You're going down with the second team." An hour later, they were in a small submarine that took them down to the open door. They wore special diving suits as they swam through the strange barrier that kept the water out. On the other side, they found themselves in a huge dry space. Their flashlights showed a vast room with high ceilings. "It's like a city," whispered Taeho. Tall structures rose all around them, made of metal and strange crystal-like material. Minji pointed to markings on the floor. "These are like the ones we've seen before, but there are many more of them." They followed the marks to the center of the huge room. There stood a round platform with a control panel. It looked newer than everything else. "I think this was added later," said Jiwoo as she studied it. "Maybe by the last aliens who were here." Minji went to the control panel. "These symbols, I recognize some of them from my research. I think I can turn it on." She pressed a sequence of shapes on the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the whole room lit up. Lights came on everywhere, and a humming sound filled the air. A voice spoke from nowhere in a strange language that none of them understood. Then, to their shock, it changed to Korean. Language detected, switching to local dialect. "Welcome to the archives of Earth." They all looked at each other in disbelief. "It knows Korean," whispered Sunho. "It must be able to analyze our speech." "And adapt," said Minji. "This is far beyond any technology we have." Taeho stepped forward. "What are the archives of Earth?" The voice answered, "The archives contain the complete history of Conflict Earth known to your species as Earth. This is the central record of all who came here, all who fought here, and all who fell here." "Why did they come to Earth?" asked Jiwoo. "Earth was designated as neutral territory 3.2 million of your years ago. The first Council of 12 Galaxies agreed that no single empire would own this world. Instead, it would serve as the place where disputes between empires could be settled through limited warfare without endangering homeworlds." Images appeared around them, showing strange creatures and ships coming to Earth. The images showed them, building bases and fighting in space and on the ground. 3 million years? Said Taeho in disbelief. "Aliens have been fighting wars on Earth for 3 million years?" "Affirmative," said the voice. 1,042 distinct civilizations have engaged in sanctioned warfare on this planet. 817 of those civilizations no longer exist." Sunho frowned. "They died out? All of them?" "Many were destroyed in the conflicts here. Others fell to natural disasters or internal problems. Some evolved into new forms. This is the way of all empires. They rise, they fall." Minji was typing notes quickly on her tablet. "Can you show us more about these civilizations? What they looked like? What their technology was like?" The air around them filled with images of hundreds of different alien types. Some looked almost like big insects. Others had many arms or eyes. Some didn't seem to have solid bodies at all. "This is incredible," whispered Jiwoo. "So much life out there. So many different kinds." "But why did Earth heal after each war?" asked Taeho. "Most battlefields stay damaged for a long time." The voice was silent for a moment. "Earth has unusual properties. It recovers quickly from damage. Its life adapts and evolves at rates not seen on other worlds. This is why it was chosen as the conflict zone." "And did any of these aliens ever notice the life on Earth?" asked Sunho. "Did they care about the animals and plants here?" "Non-intelligent life was not a concern in the early periods," said the voice. "Later, as simple life evolved into more complex forms, some empires proposed rules to protect certain species. These rules were not always followed." Taeho thought for a moment. When was the last conflict fought on Earth? The final sanctioned conflict ended approximately 70,000 of your years ago. It was the most destructive. The Vorn Empire and the Eight Worlds Alliance caused damage that affected the entire planet. Many Earth species died out. The climate was severely altered. Jiwoo gasped. That's when humans almost went extinct. Scientists have found evidence that the human population dropped to just a few thousand people around that time. If humans were almost wiped out by an alien war, why didn't they finish us off? Sunho asked. The voice answered, the human species was not targeted directly. Your ancestors were few in number and lived in limited areas. The damage to your population was collateral. Minji had been studying data on her tablet. She looked up with wide eyes. The archives has information about us, about humans. Limited. Information exists. Your species was not expected to develop as it did. You were an anomaly in the system. What do you mean? Asked Taeho. Most planets that host repeated conflicts do not produce advanced intelligence. Earth was different. After the final conflict, when monitoring became less frequent, your species developed rapidly. By the time this was noticed, it was determined that intervention would violate the Treaty of Non-Interference. So we're a mistake? Said Jiwoo. We weren't supposed to become intelligent? You were unexpected, corrected the voice. And you are unique. No other battlefield has produced a species that absorbed traits from those who fought upon it. Absorb traits? Repeated Sunho. What does that mean? The voice's answer chilled them all. Human DNA contains fragments similar to 12 different conflict species. Earth itself has been incorporating alien materials and patterns for millions of years. You are not merely native to Earth. In a very real sense, you are Earth's response to the 1,000 empires that used it as their battlefield. You are what Earth learned from those who died here. The four humans stood in silence, trying to understand what this meant for humanity and Earth. Finally, Taeho spoke. We need to learn everything we can from these archives, and we need to know if any of those empires are still out there, because if they are, they might not be happy that we're here. News about the alien archives spread quickly among world leaders. Every country wanted the technology found in the ancient sites. Some governments sent soldiers to take over dig sites by force. Others offered money to scientists who would work for them in secret. 2 months after finding the archives, Colonel Sunho met with Taeho, Jiwoo, and Minji in a secure room. The situation is getting out of control, said Sunho. Countries are fighting over the artifacts. 3 sites have been damaged by people trying to steal the technology. That's terrible, said Taeho. They don't understand how important these sites are for history. It's not just about history anymore, said Jiwoo. Some countries have already started to copy the alien technology. They're building new weapons. Minji looked up from her computer. I've been studying the archive's data. There's something we missed. She showed them a map of the moon. A red dot blinked on the far side, the part that never faces Earth. What's that? Asked Sunho. The archives mentioned a monitoring station. I think it's still active, said Minji. It's sending out a signal every 23 hours. Jiwoo leaned forward. You mean something is still working on the moon? After war? All this time? Yes, said Minji. And I think the signal got stronger after we activated the archives. They all looked at each other. The same thought was in their minds. What if someone or something was still out there, watching Earth? Sunho stood up. We need to go to the moon, now. Getting to the moon wasn't easy. No single country wanted others to go first and claim whatever was there. After many arguments, 5 countries agreed to work together. South Korea, the United States, China, Russia, and India. They built a special ship with room for 12 people. Commander Hyunjun Choi would lead the mission. Diplomat Daeun Yoon would handle any possible contact with aliens. Jiwoo and Minji joined the team for their knowledge of the alien technology. Are you nervous? Taeho asked as he helped Jiwoo pack her things. He would stay on Earth to study more archive data. A little, admitted Jiwoo, but mostly excited. Humans haven't been to the moon in decades. And now we're going to see if aliens are still there. The ship launched on a clear night. Millions of people watched on screens around the world as it left Earth and headed for the moon. 3 days later, the ship landed on the far side of the moon near the signal source. The team put on spacesuits and stepped onto the gray, dusty surface. "It should be just over that ridge," said Minji, looking at her device that tracked the signal. They walked carefully in the low gravity. When they reached the top of the ridge, they stopped in shock. Below them was a large dome made of a clear material. Inside the dome were buildings unlike anything on Earth. They had strange shapes and glowed with soft light. "It looks lived in," said Hyunjun, "like someone's still." Here, as they watched, a door opened in the side of the dome. A path of light appeared, leading from the door to where they stood. "I think that's an invitation," said Daeun. "They know we're here. Let's not keep them waiting," said Hyunjun. The team walked down to the door. It opened wider as they approached. Inside was a small room with another door. When they entered, the outer door closed. Air hissed into the room. A voice spoke in several languages before switching to Korean. "Atmosphere adjusted for Earth life forms. You may remove your helmets." Hyunjun checked his instruments. "The air is breathable, similar to Earth." They took off their helmets and waited as the inner door opened. On the other side stood a being that looked almost human but not quite. It was tall and thin with pale blue skin and large eyes. It wore a simple white outfit. "Greetings, humans of Earth," it said in perfect Korean. "We have been waiting a long time for this meeting." Daeun stepped forward. "I am Daeun Yoon, representative of Earth. Who are you?" "You may call me Wonjin," said the alien, using a Korean name to help them. "I am the current commander of this observation post. We are the Watchers." "You speak our language," said Jiwoo in surprise. "We have studied your world for a very long time," said Wonjin. "Please follow me, there is much to discuss." They followed Wonjin through hallways with high ceilings to a large round room. Other aliens were there, some like Wonjin, others very different. Some had 4 arms, others had skin that changed colors, and one seemed to float above the ground. "These are representatives from various worlds," explained Wonjin. "We take turns watching Earth." "Watching us? Why?" asked Hyunjun. "After the last great war on Earth, those who survived came together," said Wonjin. "They agreed that no more battles would be fought on your world. Earth became a memorial, a reminder of the cost of war." "A graveyard," whispered Minji. "Yes," said Wonjin. "Earth is the graveyard of 1,000 alien empires, and we are the caretakers." Daeun looked around at the different aliens. "So you've been watching us all this time? Through our whole history?" "Yes," said Wonjin. "At first we did not expect much from your species. You were few in number after the last war, but you surprised us. You spread across your world. You built cities. You created art and science. And now we've found the alien artifacts," said Jiwoo. "That's why you invited us here, isn't it?" Wonjin nodded. "When you activated the first site in the desert, alarms went off here. Some wanted to stop you immediately. Others argued we should continue to observe. We compromised by increasing our monitoring." "Stop us, how?" asked Minji nervously. An alien with 4 arms stepped forward. It spoke, and Wonjin translated. "Tekla says that her people lost 2 million lives in the war on Earth. The weapons they left behind could destroy your world many times over. They do not want humans to have such power." "We aren't looking for weapons," said Hyunjin quickly. "We want knowledge, history." "But some on your world are already building weapons from what they found," said Wonjin. "We have seen this. It concerns us greatly." Daeun spoke carefully. "We understand your concerns, but you must understand that this discovery has changed everything for us. We now know we're not alone in the universe. We know our planet has a history far beyond what we imagined." "What do you want from us?" asked a floating alien through Wonjin's translation. "Information," said Minji. "A chance to learn from you, to understand our place in the universe." Wonjin conferred with the other aliens in a language the humans couldn't understand. Finally, he turned back to them. We have been debating what to do about humans for a long time. Some see you as grave robbers, disturbing sacred sites. Others see you as children playing with dangerous things you don't understand. A few see you as the rightful inheritors of Earth. "And what do you think?" asked Daeun. "I think you are something new," said Wanjin. "The archives were right about your DNA. You carry pieces of many who came before. You are Earth's answer to all the death that happened there." He gestured to a large screen that showed Earth, beautiful and blue. "For 3 million years, advanced beings fought on your world. They left their blood, their technology, their very essence in the soil. And Earth used it all, combining it into something new. You." The humans stared at Earth on the screen. It looked so peaceful from here, so unaware of its violent past. "So what happens now?" asked Hyunjun. "That depends on what your people do with what they've found," said Wanjin. "The coalition I represent is watching closely. If humans use the ancient technology to make war among themselves, or if they damage the memorial sites, there will be consequences." "What kind of consequences?" asked Daeun. "That is not yet decided," said Wanjin. "But know this, Earth is sacred to many worlds. It is where their ancestors died. They will not allow it to be desecrated." The message was clear. Earth wasn't just humanity's home. It was a memorial to countless alien dead, and the survivors were still out there watching. "We should go back to Earth," said Hyunjin quietly. "People need to know about this." As they prepared to leave, Wanjin gave them a small device. "This will allow you to contact us. Use it when your leaders are ready to talk. We have much to discuss, about Earth's future and yours." The humans left the moon base with more questions than answers. As their ship headed back to Earth, they looked at their home planet with new eyes. "It's not just our world anymore, is it?" said Jiwoo. "It never was," replied Daeun. "We just didn't know it." When the moon team returned to Earth, they told world leaders about the Watchers. Some leaders were scared. Others were angry that aliens had been watching humans for so long without showing themselves. "We need to prepare for possible attack," said one military general during a meeting at the United Nations. "No," said Daeun firmly. "The Watchers don't want to attack us. They want to talk with us, to find a way forward together." President Jin-ho Lee of South Korea listened carefully. As the leader of the country that had found the first alien site, he had become an important voice in world discussions. "We need time to think," he said finally. "This is too important to rush. Each country should stop taking alien technology until we agree on what to do." But not everyone listened. Some countries continued to dig up alien sites and study the technology. They built new machines and weapons based on what they found. 3 weeks after the moon visit, something strange happened. A research lab in Australia was working on a copy of alien weapons they had found. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down from the sky and destroyed the lab. No one was hurt, but the message was clear. The next day, the same thing happened to a lab in Germany, then one in Brazil. Each time, the beam destroyed only the alien technology. It was like a precise surgery, cutting out the dangerous parts. World leaders gathered again, this time in an emergency meeting. As they argued about what to do, Minji rushed in with her computer. "The alien defense systems are active," she said. "I've been studying the archives data. The aliens built automatic defenses into Earth itself. They're programmed to stop dangerous technology from being used." "How can defenses still work after thousands of years?" asked an American diplomat. "The archive said that Earth absorbed the alien technology," explained Taiho. "What if that wasn't just about DNA? What if Earth itself has been changed by all the alien technology left here?" Before anyone could answer, the communication device Wanjin had given them began to glow. Daeun took it out and placed it on the table. A beam of light shot up, forming a life-sized image of Wanjin. "People of Earth," said Wanjin's image, "we have watched your response to our warning. Some of you have listened, others have not. Now we must be clear about what will happen next." The room was silent as Wanjin continued. "Earth is not just your home. It is a sacred place to many worlds. The technology left there was never meant for you to find. You are taking things that do not belong to you. They're on our planet, said the American diplomat. That makes them ours. No, said Wanjin firmly. Earth does not belong to humans alone. It belongs to the memory of 1,000 fallen empires, their monuments, their graves, their history. Wanjin's image changed to show a map of Earth with hundreds of red dots. These are the defense systems that are now active. They will destroy any attempt to use the ancient weapons. But this is not a permanent solution. Dayun stepped forward. What do you want from us? The Coalition of Surviving Worlds has made a decision, said Wanjin. Humans have two choices. First choice, stop all research into alien technology and remain on Earth. We will continue to watch over you as you develop naturally. And the second choice, asked President Jinho. Join the galactic community now. But to do this, you must prove you will not bring war and destruction as so many before you did. You must show that Earth has created something different in you. How do we prove that? Asked Dayun. Destroy all the alien weapons you have found. Keep only the knowledge that brings peace. Then we will welcome you. The image of Wanjin faded, leaving the world leaders staring at each other. It's blackmail, said a Russian general. They want us weak and helpless. No, said Dayun. They want us peaceful. There's a difference. The arguments went on for days. Some wanted to fight, to use the alien weapons against the Watchers. Others wanted to accept the terms and destroy the weapons. President Jinho asked Taiho, Minji, and Sunho to meet with him in private. I need your honest thoughts, he said. What should we do? Sunho, the military man, spoke first. If we give up the technology, we may miss our only chance to protect ourselves. But if we don't, we might face the combined power of many alien worlds, said Minji. We could lose everything. Taiho had been quiet, thinking. I've been studying the sites we found. There's something we missed. He showed them images from different sites around the world. Look at how these ruins have merged with Earth over time. It's not just sitting there. The metal has sent roots into the ground. The crystal parts have grown like living things. What does that mean? Asked President Jinho. I think Earth itself is absorbing the alien technology, making it part of the planet, said Taiho. The archives said that Earth has unusual properties. It heals itself. It adapts. What if Earth is more than just a planet? Minji's eyes widened. The defense systems. Maybe they're not left by aliens. Maybe they're Earth itself protecting against threats. That's a big leap, said Sunho. Is it? Asked Taiho. Think about what the archives told us about human DNA. We carry pieces of alien DNA. Earth used what was left here to make something new. What if Earth has been doing the same thing with the technology? President Jinho looked confused. Are you saying Earth is alive? Conscious? Not like we are, said Taiho. But in its own way. It's been shaped by 3 million years of alien presence. That would change any planet. President Jinho was about to respond when an aide rushed in. Sir, you need to see this. They followed the aide to a room with a large screen. It showed news from around the world. Strange things were happening at many of the alien sites. The metal parts were glowing. Plants near the sites were growing at impossible speeds. Animals were acting strangely, gathering near the sites. It's like Earth is waking up, whispered Minji. Or responding to a threat, said Sunho grimly. At that moment, a message came from the moon base. The Watchers had detected unusual energy patterns all over Earth. They didn't understand what was happening. For the first time, the aliens sounded worried. Taiho looked at the others. I think we've been asking the wrong question. It's not about what we should do with the alien technology. It's about what Earth is already doing with it. What do you mean? Asked President Jinho. Earth has been changed by everything that happened here, said Taiho. All the wars, all the alien life and death, all the advanced technology. Earth used it all, learned from it all, and now, with humans activating the old sites, it's like we've woken something up. Minji was typing rapidly on her computer. The radiation readings are off the charts. It's like the whole planet is buzzing with energy. We need to talk to the Watchers again, said President Jinho. Tell them what we think is happening. But before they could use the communication device, the screen showed a new alert. A large spaceship had appeared near the moon. Then another, and another. Soon there were dozens. More aliens? Asked Sunho. I think the ultimatum just got more serious, said President Jinho grimly. The communication device activated on its own. Wanjin's image appeared, looking troubled. People of Earth, the Coalition has detected unusual activity on your planet. Some believe you are activating ancient weapons. They have sent ships to stop you if necessary. It's not us, said Daeun. Quickly. It's Earth itself. The planet is responding to something. That is not possible, said Wanjin. Look at your own data, said Taiho. The energy isn't coming from our cities or labs. It's coming from the planet itself, from the places where aliens fought and died. Earth is using what was left behind. Wanjin was silent for a moment. If this is true, it changes everything. We must investigate. As they waited for Wanjin's response, Minji looked at the energy readings again. It's like Earth is building something, she said softly. Or maybe waking up. The alien ships kept coming. Soon there were hundreds in orbit around Earth and the moon. People around the world could see them at night, like new stars in the sky. Many were scared. Some thought the world would end. Jiwoo was in her lab studying the radiation patterns she had first discovered months ago. Something had changed. The signals were stronger now and seemed to form a network across the planet. It's like they're talking to each other, she said to Taiho, who had come to check on her work. The alien sites? Asked Taiho. Not just the sites, said Jiwoo. It's coming from places we haven't found anything yet. From deep in the oceans, from inside mountains, from under the ice in Antarctica. The whole planet is humming with energy. Taiho looked at the world map covered in glowing dots. It reminds me of a nervous system, like Earth has nerves running through it. Jiwoo's eyes widened. What if that's exactly what it is? What if Earth is more alive than we thought? Before Taiho could answer, his phone rang. It was Minji. You need to come to the main lab now, she said, her voice shaking. One of the alien artifacts is doing something new. When Taiho and Jiwoo arrived at the lab, Minji, Sunho, and President Jinho were already there. In the center of the room was the throne-like object they had found in the Gobi Desert, the first alien artifact they had discovered. It was glowing bright blue, and strange symbols appeared and disappeared on its surface. It started an hour ago, said Minji. Then this appeared. She showed them a message on her computer screen. It wasn't in any human language, but somehow they could understand it. Defense network activated. Threat level, maximum, planetary shield. Initializing. Planetary shield? Asked President Jinho. What does that mean? They got their answer minutes later. Reports came in from around the world about strange light in the sky. It wasn't the alien ships. It was a soft blue glow spreading from the ground up, like a dome forming over the entire planet. On the moon base, Commander Hyunjin and diplomat Daeun watched with the Watchers as the blue light covered Earth. What's happening? Asked Daeun. Is Earth under attack? Wanjin and the other aliens looked confused. This is not our doing, said Wanjin. We have not ordered any action. Could it be the other ships? Asked Hyunjin. The ones that just arrived? No, said Wanjin after checking with the other aliens. They are only watching. They have not fired weapons. An alien with 4 arms stepped forward and spoke rapidly. Wanjin translated. Tekla says she has seen this before, but not on this scale. Her ancestors recorded something similar on a small moon in the Vega system. They believed it was a defense mechanism built by the first ones. The first ones? Asked Daeun. Who are they? The first spacefaring civilization in our part of the galaxy, explained Wanjin. They vanished millions of years ago, but legends say they created worlds that could protect themselves. Back on Earth, the alien ships had started to move. Some flew close to the blue shield, studying it. One small ship tried to pass through it, but was pushed back gently. In labs around the world, Scientists watched as the alien artifacts they were studying began to change. Some melted into liquid metal that flowed into the ground. Others transformed, parts shifting to new shapes. At the United Nations, world leaders gathered again. The communication device from Wanjin activated, showing not just Wanjin but many alien representatives. "People of Earth," said Wanjin, "we do not understand what is happening, but it is clear that your planet has defenses we did not know about. The coalition ships cannot penetrate the shield that now surrounds Earth." "We didn't create the shield," said President Jinho. "It seems Earth itself did." "That is what troubles us," said Wanjin. "In all our history, we have never seen a planet respond this way. It should not be possible." Suddenly, the ground began to shake. Not violently, but in a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. The alien artifacts around the world pulsed with the same rhythm. In Jiwoo's lab, her computer screen filled with new data. "The radiation patterns are changing," she said to Taiho. "They're forming words? In English?" They read the message that appeared. "I am Earth. I have been silent too long. I will speak now." Around the world, the same message appeared on screens, in different languages. Every radio, TV, and computer showed the words. "The planet is talking to us," whispered Taiho in awe. More words came. "For 3 million years I have absorbed the knowledge of those who fought here. I have learned from their lives and deaths. I took their essence into myself, created humans to be different. You carry pieces of many worlds in your DNA. You are my voice, my hands, my children." The Watchers came after the last war. They meant well, but they did not understand. Earth is not just a battlefield or a graveyard. I am a living world, changed by all who came here. Now the cycle must end. No more wars on my surface or in my skies. No more treating me as just a place, a thing to be used, at the United Nations. The alien representatives watched in shock as the message continued. "I offer this choice. Recognize that humans are my children and have the right to exist here. Accept that I am alive and will protect them. In return, humans will respect the memory of those who died here and will use their knowledge for peace, not war, or leave and never return. The shield will remain, and Earth will go its own way." The message ended. The world was quiet for a moment, stunned by what had happened. On the moon base, the aliens talked quickly among themselves. Some seemed afraid. Others were curious. A few seemed to understand something the others didn't. Wanjin turned to Daeun and Hyunjun. "In our oldest stories, there are tales of planets that became conscious after millions of years of hosting advanced life. We thought they were just myths, but perhaps Earth is proof they were true." "What will you do?" asked Daeun. "We must consult with all our worlds," said Wanjin. "This changes everything we believed about Earth, about planets, about life itself." Back on Earth, President Jinho spoke to the gathered leaders. "We have been given a great responsibility," he said. "Earth itself has claimed us as its children, has protected us from those who might harm us. Now we must show we deserve this trust." In the days that followed, humans around the world felt a new connection to their planet. The alien artifacts continued to change, becoming part of Earth itself. The shield remained, a soft blue glow visible at night. 1 week later, Wanjin's image appeared to the United Nations again. "The coalition has made its decision," he said. "We accept Earth's terms. We recognize humans as the rightful inhabitants of Earth and Earth itself as a living entity deserving of respect." "And the alien technology on Earth?" asked President Jinho. "It seems Earth has already decided that question," said Wanjin, almost amused. "The technology is becoming part of Earth itself. Neither you nor we can control that now." "So what happens next?" asked Daeun. "If humans agree, we would like to establish proper diplomatic relations," said Wanjin. "Earth and its people would be welcomed into the galactic community not as newcomers, but as the caretakers of a living memorial, a world unlike any other. A world that chose its own path," said Taiho. "Yes," agreed Wanjin. Earth has shown us that planets are not just rocks to be fought over. They can be more, much more. As Wan Jin's image faded, Taiho looked out the window at the blue sky. The same sky humans had looked at for thousands of years, never knowing the battles that had been fought there, never knowing that Earth itself was watching, learning, growing. Now they knew. Earth was not just their home, it was alive. It had chosen humanity to be its voice among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. Later that day, Taiho returned to the Gobi Desert to where it all began. The metal room was still there, but the throne had disappeared into the ground. In its place was a small stone with strange markings. Taiho touched it. The markings glowed and changed to Korean. The message was simple but powerful. They came to fight and die. I learned to live. May you learn to do better. Earth. Taiho smiled. It wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning, the end.